Hello, Internet. It's Carolina. So I want to see what's going to come out because I feel like I have a lot of thoughts, but maybe not totally cohesive. We'll see. Um, I was walking my dog, and usually when you're walking, you're thinking non-linearly, and you should just be paying attention to what's going on, but sometimes your mind wanders. And I started thinking about why I felt the need to put on lipstick before I left the house to walk him, because it's not like I showered. I'm not going anywhere fancy. There's not a good reason for it, and that's what in quotes, because it's not my words, it's not what I identify with, but that's the social conditioning that red lipstick is only for special occasions, or it's very bold, and you should avoid it, and how about a berry, and how about a pink instead of a red? Don't go for a red. And this one I think is actually have two shades of like bright red lipstick, or maybe three, but I remember how upset and uncomfortable red lipstick made my mother when I was a teenager. And even like dark, really like blood red, vampy sort of lipstick made her really, really uncomfortable. And at the time I was hanging out with a couple kids who were like, like the goth kids. And so I just, wanted to try that out and see what the scene was about. And I enjoyed it. It was parts of it. And just the gut reaction from her of like no, and that's not allowed, years and years later still sticks with me. And that's it's just one of the many things that I would do differently. My turn as a mother. I would do that differently, and not make it seem like I'm shaming her or being angry at her for exploring her identity. And the part that made her uncomfortable, I know, was the potential for sex because you're wearing red lipstick. And see, because that thought process supports the stupid idea that sex is bad and that sex should not be talked about, and that teenagers aren't doing it. The other thing about the color red that that I remember and I want to talk about is, I remember shopping with her, and I was young, but I had already started my period, and I started my period pretty early for, a lot of people get it in middle school or high school. I got it in grade school. Yay. I remember shopping with her, and she freaked out when I wanted to get some cute red underwear. And I remember her specifically saying in Spanish that red underwear was for whores. I was like, I just like the color red, and now if I get it, I'm a whore? Like, what? So yeah, so I wasn't allowed to get that pair of underwear because it was red and was for whores. Not that I had my own money at that time. I was in grade school, and I couldn't have, gotten it myself. But what a message. And that's, 20 years later, I still remember what she said. People think that kids don't pay attention or that they don't remember shit. And like, no, we do, because children grow up to be adults. And then if they don't thoroughly process, which most of us do not, we just perpetuate and perpetuate and perpetuate, and then wonder why we're unhappy and we feel empty because we're never properly processing any of the shit that we've gone through. So don't be like everybody else. Process your shit, own it, be responsible, and don't perpetuate nonsense that holds every single person back and perpetuates nonsense that is like not just, I mean, it's beyond anti-feminist and sexist. It's really, it's limiting to everybody, and it's a shame, and it's a disservice to absolutely everybody on earth if you say, if you think that the color red is for whores only, and for whores that word is so bad and nobody wants to be it, you know? But one of the worst words you can be is only ever used for women, for people who identify as women. I mean, think about that. What the fuck is that about? There have been books written on this, and I have yet to read all of them. Probably won't, but I intend to do as much reading on that as possible. Because, for instance, one I think was called The Sacred Prostitute, which is on my reading list. So I will be reading that soon. You probably just heard my cat running around. Additionally to that limiting thought, which is such crap, if you believe, as I believe, that life force energy, creative energy, and sexual energy are all the exact same thing, when I found that out, mind blown. It was so obvious. So fucking obvious. But it took me, until now to realize it. But it is one of those obvious, like, universal truths that life force energy, creative energy, and sexual energy is all the same thing. And what do we continually to do to people, but specifically women? Probably I'm speaking about it because it is my experience, but I know that men have suffered in their own way and still continue to suffer because of limiting ideas about sexuality. But think of all the suppression that we have been through, which is literally not even just in a dramatic, like, teenager, you don't understand my life, you're suppressing my life, but in a very real, tangible way. Every single time that we shame somebody for having a body, that we shame them for being attracted to someone, when we shame them for liking the color red or pink, or we shame them for looking too pretty. Yeah. You are literally suppressing their life force. Think about that. Do you want to do that? I don't. So, life force energy is creative energy, is sexual energy. It's all the same. I'm sure there will be more on that later. But I just found that out not too long ago, and I'm still geeking out about it because it's so fucking important. So I think I needed the red lipstick today because this morning I woke up with a horrible, horrible headache. And then when it passed, I felt better and I felt alive and ready to walk outside again. So I was like, I'm alive again. I'm happy to feel things like the warm sun, and I'm happy that I'm, doing the work to clear all that stuff, which is sometimes painful, but it's worth it.